What our ancestors had knowledge about thousands of years ago was only discovered by telescope in Europe and America around 1862. Kings and queens, your majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. So today we will go straight into our discussion of today, going back into history, decoding some of these things that are right before our faces and sometimes in plain sight, but we are not aware of it. Now we'll talk a little bit about the Dogon and the Sirius mysteries. Now, the world has made it look like the African people do not have a history, the African people do not have a civilization, but the truth is that we birthed civilization. You see the way it sounds so sweet in my mouth? But that's the fact, because that's how it is. Our ancestors birthed civilization. We showed the world what it looks like to live in this world, because our ancestors were people who had encounters with beings who have higher knowledge, who have advanced technology and everything, that worked with them, that lived with them. This is part of our life. So how can you come tell us that we do not know what civilization is when we are the birther of civilization? We have empires in ancient Alkebulan that have existed, had connection with the heavens, okay? Our empires, our kingdoms had existed and had connection with the heavens directly. Like our ancestors communicated with the heavens directly, your majesties. Yes, for a fact. All right, let's get straight into today's discussion. Now, when you talk about the Dogon Empire and the series of mysteries, this is ancient knowledge that has been existing in Mali for a long time. As mentioned, these extraterrestrials have come to this planet and set up among humans as well as humankind. Mind you, we've discussed about how in this existing creation we have the humans, that's the man and the womb man, and we have the humankind, that's a kind of man and a kind of the womb man. This is a fact that cannot be disputed. You can do your histories about that. This is not racidicism. Now, Earth has benevolent and malevolent influences. In Nubia, that is called Ghanawa today, in a land referred to as Mali, whose inhabitants moved from the land of Kemet in Kush, you find one such influence. That is the Dogon. Their imams had astonishing knowledge of the star Sirius in the Canis Major constellation, given by extraterrestrials long before they migrated to Mali. When we talk about extraterrestrials, we talk about prophets, we talk about angels, we talk, a lot of melanated had encounters with angels, had encounters with great prophets who had advanced technologies and knowledges that are taught a lot of advanced knowledges to our people. Okay, while yet living in Tamera Kemet, called Egypt, where the ritual of the opening of the mouth ceremony is centered around the Sirius star in the Canis Major constellation. Now, mind you, do not confuse this. There's a difference between extraterrestrials and fallen angels. The extraterrestrials are not fallen angels. These are what I want you to understand as we continue. They knew that Sirius A, which is the biggest star in the sky, has a satellite called the Sirius B, which it revolves around it. Sirius B is invisible to the naked eye, and the Dogon people had no telescope. The African people from Mali had no telescope. They knew that Sirius A, which is the biggest star in the sky, has a satellite called Sirius B, which revolves around it. Now, how do these Dogon people know this knowledge when this very Sirius B is invincible to the naked eye? This is what you can't see with your eye. And these people do not have telescope, but they are aware that there is a Sirius B that is by the side of Sirius A. But they knew that it existed and that its orbit around Sirius A is elliptical, not circular. So how did these Dogon people have these advanced knowledges when they do not have any other technologies to discover these things? Now, they knew the position of Sirius A within the orbit and that the orbit takes 50 years. Sirius B was not discovered in the West by telescope until 1862 AD. What our ancestors had knowledge about thousands of years ago was only discovered by telescope in Europe and America around 1862. And we get some people coming to Africa telling us that we are not educated. We are not knowledgeable. You get that guy who came here, one of us who was even insulting us to our faces, that he got education and he is from America. You forgot that ancient knowledges and technologies, it started from here. We had these knowledges existing. Even without all the technologies that we know that things exist in the spirit. Things that people cannot see with their physical eyes. Your Majesties. Okay? And this very Sirius B was not photographed in Europe and America until 1970 AD. The ancient Egyptians had had an advanced knowledge of astronomy. This is a key point I want us to put in our head. The ancient Egyptians had had advanced knowledge of astronomy and they knew about Sirius B, which is why the three great pyramids of Giza are lined up perfectly with the Orion star constellation. They made their map face south towards Sirius. The three pyramids of Giza were originally built by Adafa with the help of extraterrestrial beings. Mind you, like I said, extraterrestrial beings are different from fallen angels, okay? Adafa was in the tune with the celestial being that originally erected the pyramids. They are visitors from other galaxies. One of the great pyramids was built to preserve all of his friends' texts during the period of the flood. They tell you, Europe and America come to tell us in Africa that own the pyramid, that this pyramid is for dead, is for coffins, is for dead pharaohs. That's what they want, the mainstream media want us to believe. That the pyramid are tombs for pharaohs. But it's more than that. I think we had a discussion about this, how the pyramid was used to generate electricity and tap free energy from the sky. We've done a video about that before now as well. One of the great pyramids was built to preserve all his friends' texts during the period of the flood. The Giza pyramid today were reconstructed by the pharaoh Khufu, also known as Cheops, and his son Khafre and Menkure. Khufu reigned for 23 years and had many sons and daughters. He sponsored several building projects, and monuments bearing his name can be seen all over Egypt. So much has been written about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Not only is it the largest monument of its kind, but it is the result of excellent workmanship, accurate planning, and proportionate beauty. Now, how can the people who are not learned, who had no knowledge, who had no education, erect something like this, Your Majesties? How can the people who attempt to be barbaric, who attempt to be, monkeys without brains, know about Sirius B, Your Majesties? How can the people who the world have seen as nothing good can come out from, be the carrier of expensive advanced knowledges like this? This question most of the time should run in our mind so that we can give ourselves the open mind to rediscover new things and get to know the truth of everything that that history has written about us that is not our story, my kings and queens. There is a lot that has been invented in the past that, the enemy have taken the glory from our ancestors and given it to themselves. You can't talk about the existence of man and you will not talk about the melanated people. You will not talk about our Kebalan. You won't talk about Africa, the Garden of Eden, the origin of mankind. You can't. It's not just possible. And that is why, as Africans, as melanated, we should take back that cap that was taken from our head. Enough is enough. It is time for us to know our history and be proud of it. And be grateful that we had ancestors who could, decipher knowledges that most of the times the recent technologies cannot even do with. Recent technologies, most of them cannot do up to half of what our ancestors did without this. Like I said, when I say our ancestors worked with advanced technologies and other things, they had this knowledge in them. Your Majesty, something that Europe and America might just have discovered maybe 100 years ago. Our ancestors had worked with it, discovered it for eons, and you come up today and then they tell you that those your ancestors are witches and wizards, and then you agree to it, and then you follow their own ancestors. So their own ancestors are not witches and wizards. It's your own that is witches and wizards. I keep saying this. In every lineage, we have agreeable and disagreeable being. Yours is to put in effort to communicate and work with the agreeable being of your lineage. Your Majesties. And that is for a fact that the world today have been unfair to the melanated people. The world today have been unfair to the African people. They take our histories, they hide histories, they burn them. Sometimes what they have done, the effort they have put in to make us not even remember who we are, is something that you have to sit and think about. If it's not that important, why are they putting in money, effort, sweat, energy into making you not knowing who you are? You answer me. If who you are is not important and you knowing yourself does not have anything to do with them, why do you think that they are putting in all this effort to make you remain in the state of not knowing? In the state of always blaming your lineage, always blaming your ancestors, always saying that your ancestors didn't do you any good, always saying that the African people of ancient times didn't achieve anything. They came to Africa, they came to the motherland to learn from the feet of our ancestors. Oh, your Majesties. I'm going to leave you here today. I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive. Always, your Majesties. Bye for now.